Hello, and welcome to our next unit, 4.2, having to do with photosynthesis in our lessons about cells. I'm Lauren Davis, and I'm one of the instructors for this program. Photosynthesis, as you probably already know, is the process whereby plants make sugar and oxygen. They take in the water and they use the light from the sun, go through a couple reactions, and they make the sugar which they need in order for their life processes, but we also use it as far as our food goes as well. There are two different stages of photosynthesis. The first stage is called light reactions or light-dependent reactions. The light is the photo part of photosynthesis. I like to think of photo meaning light and the stage one meaning light reactions. And then the Calvin cycle is the part where it uses the energy created from the light-dependent reactions to produce or create or synthesize the sugar. So synthesis is the actually putting together or the making part of it. So in a simplified form, photosynthesis just means light, synthesis or making of sugar, and that is the light reactions in the Calvin cycle. Chloroplasts are the organelles within the plant that actually contain the chlorophyll. And the chlorophyll is located in the thylakoid membrane, and stacks of thylakoid membranes are called granums. And so you can see here in this diagram that we have stacks within the chloroplast of thylakoid membranes, and that's the thylakoid membrane is where the light reactions are going to take place. Around, or the part around the thylakoid membranes is called the stroma, and that's where the Calvin cycle takes place. So again, the light reactions or light-dependent reactions happen in the green ovals called thylakoid membranes, and the stacks of those green ovals are called granums. And then the Calvin cycle takes place within the yellowish part called the stroma. So you can see here a more detailed diagram of which takes place where the oxygen and the light actually will in the end produce what's called ATP and NADPH. And both of those are forms of chemical energy that the chloroplast or the plant actually is going to use in order to create the sugars that it needs in order to survive. So the first light reactions is a process whereby the plant turns light energy into more of a chemical energy of ATP and NADPH, and this diagram shows how that takes place. Then in the stroma surrounding the thylakoid membranes, that is where the Calvin cycle will take the energy and go through several stages and produce what is the glucose, or the part of the cycle in which the energy part is produced, the long-term energy storage. And so this Calvin cycle, it talks a little bit about that here, and the diagram shows what is produced through the different stages of the Calvin cycle. Both of these, the light-dependent reaction and the Calvin cycle, are needed in order for the plant to produce its food, and it gives off oxygen as a waste product. So chemosynthesis should be mentioned here. Chemosynthesis is different from photosynthesis in that the organism is creating energy for itself through chemical processes instead of light processes. You'll find in organisms that live in the deep oceans will go through chemosynthesis since there's an absence of light, sometimes deep within in caves and other places where light is not found. Chemosynthesis can take place. This is a chart showing chemosynthesis. Basically what you need to know is that the organism will use chemical energy in order to produce the things that it needs in order to survive instead of light energy.